Hi everybody, back to part of something real. Okay, so tonight's video, I'm doing this really late at night. Um, Second time I've made the video because the first time was like cray cray. Okay, this video is about how we dissect the enemy's strategies. I've been saying, get you a journal, start analyzing what the enemy is doing around you because you are going to become, a sniper, y'all. You are going to be that stealth bullet that takes the enemy out. And in order for you to do that, you've got to have your discernment antennas on. And you also need to take the time to get intentional about observing how the enemy is doing the most. Okay, the point of the enemy is to get you off of your stand. Okay, I'm not talking about the kingdom spouse stand, that's a whole nother, but I'm talking about when Ephesians 6 talks about putting on the full armor of God. And one of the things it says toward the end of that chapter is it says, when all else fails, when everything else happens, stand. So this is a command. This isn't like God saying, and when you think about it, remember to stand. No. Paul is talking to the Christians at Ephesus and he's saying, you must, so saith the Lord, you must stand. So what I want you to picture right now is one of those castle guards in England. Are they called bobbies? I forget. Anyways, they have those really crazy tall, like black fur, formal helmets. And and they have the red official uniform. And so anyways, they are supposed to be immovable. Okay, people come along and try to distract them. Okay, this is what the enemy wants to do to you. He knows that you have an important position, and so he wants to take you down by distracting you and changing your focus. Now, one of the ways that he can change your focus is he can try to rob you of your peace. These are the observations I wrote down today after like 3 days of being sick. And I absolutely believe that the sickness that came to me the last few days was totally sent from haters, And so I had to really ponder and get granular on how was that allowed? How was that allowed? Well, one of the ways that it was allowed is that I stopped doing Psalm 91, Ephesians 6, so now I have it on like a tracker. Okay, you can use trackers for how many glasses of water you drink every day, or a tracker for did I walk my dog today, or whatever you want. Well, I have a tracker now. It's got so many things on it, but it has protection. It just has the word protection on there. So protection is going to be praying in my spiritual language. It's going to be oil all over the ear gates, eye gates, mouth gates, hand gates. It's going to be Psalm 91 scripture. Sometimes it's another psalm. It's going to be Ephesians 6. I had gotten a little slack on that, okay? And so I believe that the enemy was kind of able to kind of like wiggle his way in there. And what he tries to do is get us off of that stoic, focused position of peace. Peace. Okay, so this is what I wrote down. Please clock the T, use it however you want, okay? The enemy's strategy is to get my peace. Then he can cause me to get sick. The enemy's strategy is to make me angry. And then he can plant negative thoughts in my mind. The enemy's strategy is to make me scared. Then to get me to stop moving forward. Let's put a pin in that one. The enemy's strategy is to make me cry. And then that causes mental blurriness. Finally, the last one. The enemy's strategy is to make me feel down or depressed or whatever, gloomy, doomy. And that makes me doubt what God is doing in our lives. Not just my life. It makes me doubt, like, well, is God being effective over here? Okay, is God even doing anything over here? Is he answering any prayers back there? This is how I get. Okay, so you may get that way too. Once the peace leaves you, then remember the helmet. We have to wear that Ephesians 6 helmet. If the helmet is not on, the helmet of salvation, I believe it is, that is so key. Okay, that's probably one of the key things in the armor. Okay, every single piece is not replaceable, but some might be more key than others. This is very key. And also the shield of faith, which is your defense. This is defense. The shield of faith is defense. So, can I live without boots? Yeah, I can, but I may not be able to live without a shield covering my heart or a helmet covering my head. So, you got to keep your head in the game. You got to keep your head straight, okay? Because if you don't keep your head straight and you lose your peace, then that shield, the helmet over your mind, when that goes, the enemy can penetrate your mind. And if he can get your mind, then you can go all the way down the spiral, okay, the Nichelle spiral, to makes me doubt what God is doing. Hey, we don't want to get to that place, Now, we recover, right? We all need to recover. If we get off of our post and we are not stoic anymore, like the English, castle guard, we got to get back on there. And it doesn't take long to get back on there. Just start praising God. Start remembering all the good things that God has done for you. Just do that, okay? All right. Another thing that you want to do, and I haven't written it down, but I'm gonna write it down. I started to. Okay. You want to write down your triggers. My triggers that make me lose peace. What are they? Number 1. People close to me want to pick a fight. Boom, that could be a trigger. Because that could rob you of your peace, Number 2, my money flies away like just a total, bird. Because that can be an attack too, you guys. Our finances. We don't want our finances to leak anywhere. We don't want the enemy to take one nickel, not one dime, not one penny from us. Okay? And so when we are hit with a financial attack, these happen. Okay? Auto accidents can be an attack from the enemy. Okay? And that's a like a multi-surface hit to your life. But other hits to your finances can happen, hits to your health. Those can be big triggers where you feel like you just kind of tumble back in your faith, in your standing in the kingdom, in what you're doing in the kingdom. Write down what the triggers are. Well, you might not write down an automobile accident, but you might write down illness is a trigger, or, financial hardship is a trigger. Losing items in the home, or I don't know, what would be a trigger, whatever, I don't know. Okay, anyways, I listed a bunch there for you, okay? So anywho, the enemy is going to put pressure on these trigger points. If a trigger goes off and the monitoring is going on, he knows that you have been triggered. And that is what he's going to use as a potential opportunistic entry point to attack you. So something may happen in the natural realm that just happens. It's just whatever. It's a bummer. It happens. Okay. Let's say you get in a car accident. Okay. And maybe the enemy didn't cause that. Maybe it was just life. But, more often than not, he'd be causing things like that. So it happens, right? But now you may be going into like a whole spiral. You got to get a car rental, and what's the repair going to be? And I got to take time off work, and oh my God, I'm injured. Wait, now I got to go to a doctor. He can cause such a whirlwind in your mind. When that trigger happens, boom, you just got to know that you've got to just enter into the presence of God every day. You've got to be in the presence, you guys. And when you launch out on these national impact assignments that some of you have, or, there are other heavy duty impact assignments, whatever they are, we need to stay at the feet of Jesus, okay, in order to complete the assignment and to remain where? In peace, so that we can stay focused, okay? God has been telling me, like, discipline, Nichelle, stay focused on the tasks, discipline. Otherwise, we we lose time. We leak time. We leak money. We leak purpose. We leak advancement on our goals. So the name of the game is discipline, focus, and peace. We have to be maintaining our peace. That is a fight. It is a fight at times to maintain peace. So how do you do it? You know your triggers. What do? You put on the protection of the Word of God and oil. Use your spiritual language. Make sure you're in the presence of God. Worship. So protection is huge to stay focused. Okay? And fighting to hold that heart posture of peace. And the third thing is trusting in God at like the deepest level you've ever trusted in God. In order to hold peace, you have to trust God, because the outside is going to look like loss. It's going to look like isolation. It's going to look like wasted time in your life. It's going to look like stagnation. It's going to look like delay. It's going to look like a pile of you know what. That's what it's going to look like here in the training. Okay? On these like heavy duty assignments that we're all training up for. It's going to look icky. Okay, we don't really talk about it with people. We don't share this kind of stuff with people, right? I don't tell people what this life is like. I do not tell people, okay? I tell my YouTube audience, of two. But I don't tell people in the world. Are you kidding me? Because I can barely grapple with this myself, let alone who's going to understand it. You know what I mean? And also the enemy can take advantage of that. Don't share. I know it's really hard, you guys. It is really tiresome to not have anybody to offload. But you're almost at the end. If you're almost at the end, you're almost at the end. Just keep it zipped. Keep it closed. Maybe there's one person you can tell, Really keep it to a total minimum. Really keep your mouth closed. Keep it zipped. Joy is coming, you guys. That may sound impossible to some of you who have really been walking out an interesting life experience. But joy is coming, and a customized life is coming. I saw confetti in the spiritual realm yesterday morning, and then I heard one word: celebrate. I don't know who that's for, but all I saw was just rainbow colors of confetti and then some like little curly Q streamers in there. That's all I saw. And then deep in my heart I heard celebrate. Somebody out here, I hope it's me, y'all. But yeah, one of us, I'm so happy for you because you are about to celebrate. You're there. You are almost there, or you're right about to walk over the finish line to breakthrough. God-sized breakthrough. Okay? Great. All right, you guys. I'm praying for you all. I am praying for you all. Every day. Okay? I'll see you in another video. Bye.